Hey there! Today we're beginning our adventure into the world of Caracas, which exists inside the Dragon Harvest game. Now, if you don't know Dragon Harvest, this is a great chance to learn it. And if you've already got the game, which, hey, thanks for getting the game, this is a fun way to play together in a sense. So you can follow along in my adventure and help it craft out yours. You can see the kind of world I'm building around my campaign, and then do this with you, or do this with you and your friends. So with that said, let's get into this bad boy. This is Dragon Harvest. Okay, when you begin this game, you want to start by creating a character. I didn't want to just sit in front of you guys and work through my whole character, so I've done that beforehand. My character's name is Felbolt. He's 30 years old. It's a little more complicated than that because he's actually a wizard. Now, wizards in the world of Caracas were once spiritual beings in the sense of they didn't have a body to exist in. But they can choose to tether themselves to a physical form if they desire, and if they do, their fate becomes interwoven with the fate of Caracas. So they can die, they can hurt, they can bleed, they can live, they can laugh, they can love, they can be in Hallmark movies. So he's a wizard, and with that comes the ability, not alone. And once per region, when he's out on the battlefield, this is going to enable him to call upon other wizards who have not tethered themselves to a form, and it will give him bonus damage abilities because they will strengthen him for battle. He can only do that once per region, but I've chosen that because I'm going alone in this campaign, and there are times where you can definitely find yourself in over your head, and so having allies is helpful because they can guard against you if you go down. They can help save the team, but since I am the team in this situation, I really don't want to go down. So playing it a little close to the chest by playing it alone, I think there's ways to compensate that, and playstyle will make a big difference here. But one of the things I've done just at the beginning is made myself a wizard. He's also a smith, that's his class. So race, wizard, class is smith, which means that I can make forges without fail. This is so valuable. It costs money to try and go to the blacksmith and make a weapon, even if you have the right materials. And you can lose out on a lot of opportunities if you have bad rolls. So I just want to protect my character. I'm trying to roid him up essentially in terms of stats. Now there are limitations to how you can do that. There are different ways you can do that, but at the start this is what I've chosen for my path. So his name's Felbolt. His age is approximately 30 in human years, and his type of weapon is a rapier. I've also included a little backstory with Felbolt so that we can get to know the world we're going to be diving into together. So I'm going to read that for you. Felbolt existed in his spirit form long before he became the man he is known for being today. Truthfully, Felbolt watched over the humans of the West Mountain Galadar for centuries and is among the wizards of the Alderi. He was drawn to take physical form by his love for the people of Galadar, and he wished to know their joys and their sufferings, not just watch them from afar. He wished to taste and smell and laugh and weep with them, not simply weep and laugh for them. And so he became the man Felbolt. He devoted his magical strength to smithing, hoping to fortify his home, but alas, the West Mountain was no match for Silvgok the Deathworm, who we will encounter, hopefully, later on. We'll see if Felbolt can make it that far. Felbolt knows of no friendly survivors on that terrible day, and is committed to the Aldari that he will know of no surviving monsters either. And so his quest begins in the world of Caracas. Now, setup for this game is super easy. All you have to do is get out all your stuff, like your monster tiles, your level tile here, your level slider, sorry, and then you choose one of your meeples. It's wild to me. I would love to have little minifigs if we ever got big enough to do that kind of expansion. Right now, this red meeple, because red is my favorite color, is going to embody all that is Felbolt. I'll also tell you, this is my character sheet. I'll show you on this screen. And actually, Anchored Art Designs sketched out that photo for me today, so I'm really grateful to them for that, and definitely check them out on YouTube if you haven't. And yeah, that's Felbolt right there. And so with this, the quest begins. For every time you enter into a battle region, which is where you start, we're going to be starting in the plains of the west here. You begin by putting your character on the outside of about a foot-long square, so foot. From there, you take your bag, which has all of your tiles, your path tiles, your monster tiles, all different kinds of encounters that you can have, keeping your Dragon Harvest compendium close on hand, and you begin to play the game. You start by drawing a tile. If it's a path tile, which it is, nice, you lay it down. Felbar is moved one step closer to making it through this plains, and he's searching for monsters, specifically those which took his family and his friends. Again, we have another path tile, and so Felbar is going to move forward into the murky land of the West Plains. He finds among him a series of bones and skulls and rocks, as well as strange gardens, which have seemed to pop out of nowhere. But this is not uncommon for this region of Caracas, at least the garden part. The skulls and the bones are a little weird, but of course he's been searching for people who took his family and his friends' lives, so that's just an indication to Felbar that he is on the right path. He's doing a really good job searching this area, and unfortunately he's finding nothing until right now. Here we see he's found some object, and we're going to go see what it is, and hopefully it's something worth taking for Felbar. We pull up here in our Dragon Harvest compendium, which is very easy to use in my opinion, although I will admit my opinion is biased. And we're going to go look for artifacts here, right there, and our tile number. So you can see Felbar has found tile number 5. It's a beautiful purple looking rock, and in game that's Elvenor. So we're going to actually take that. Now, there are ways you can get more gear slots. Felbolt has 5 in total, and so by claiming Elvenor right now, he's got more opportunity in the future, assuming he can make it to a smithing port or he can find an arcane enchanter, but he's also limiting the number of things he can pick up later on. Fortunately, in this game, your weapon does not count as a gear slot. Your weapon is seen as holstered to your side, not in your bag, kind of thing. And so with that, he presses on. So far, this is really good, with the exception of the fact that if he cannot find these monsters and he cannot reclaim loot for his own family or from his family, he's not going to be able to afford very much when he gets to the next city, and he will stay a man with resources but no ability to level up. So it's super important that we find some monsters early on in the game. Let's see, we're 4 in, so that means 5 in actually, so we're over halfway through the field. I'm taking a left here because I want to be able to suss out more of the field before it's time to leave. Basically, once you've gotten to the other side of the map, you are free to go. Every time you enter a new area, so like because I've come to the edge of tile, Felbolt has to continue to draw tiles and see what's up ahead of him. When he's not doing that, he has much more freedom to just move around. In-game, if you're playing with friends, you'll want to limit your moves to, now different races can do different things, but to 2 tiles per turn, but since it's just me, I'm just going to the edge of the map here. Here we go. What is this? This isn't a monster. This is an event, and it's the number 2, so let's go figure out what's going on in the life of Felbolt as he explores the field. He needs to roll the die to see if he's found something. If it's a 1 or a 3, he finds an item, and I'll tell you guys what that is if he finds it, and if not, the tile goes straight back in the bag. It's a 3. Thank you, Felbolt. Which means he's also found Gildan Rock. Alright, he's going to claim that. He's a smith and he knows his rocks, so he's going to go for it. Gildan Rock. Okay. Now he's going to continue to explore. Hopefully, okay. Good news, we found a monster. Bad news is it's number 7 on our list of monsters. The way we know, this monster book has way more than 10 monsters in it, even though there's only 10 monster tiles. But this right here, your journey slider actually helps indicate what kind of monster you should be looking up in the book. So since I've started us off at 0, because I want ample opportunity to level up as a single player, I'm going to add 0 plus 7 to my numbers, and then I'm going to go through the monster book here and find number 7, which we have right here. It's the Draugr Mage. If you can see him, he's kind of hideous and terrifying, which tend to go together, I guess. He's got an HP of 4, which means we need to roll a 4 or higher to actually take him out with our rapier. And when he's defeated, if he's defeated, then we get 11 gold, which is great for starting out. I think that early on you have a decent chance of getting some good money, which is always really good news. So we're gonna roll and see if we can't take him out. And if we fail, then it's gonna be very interesting very early on. Okay, we've got a 1. I'm sorry that I didn't put that on camera if I didn't. 1 is basically the worst thing that could happen to me. Anything short of a 4 doesn't do it, but this is just not good news. My attack, Felbolt swings out with his rapier, throwing it from his sheath, and just blatantly misses the Draugr Mage. He was ready for us. And so now it is the Draugr Mage's turn to attack, and in this instance, a single die will be rolled. If it lands on a 1 or a 2, then the monster misses and Felbolt evades. If it lands on a 3 or a 4, then he nicks me and I'm pushed back a tile. My turn ends. If it lands on a 5, not only am I nicked and pushed back, but I also lose half my gold. In this case, that's okay. The big number that we absolutely have to avoid is the number 6, because that means Felbolt dies. No matter what the monster rolls after this, my turn would end and it would go over to the next person, and if the monster remains at the end of the turn, they would wander off, either because they pushed me back or just because the encounter has ended. And so this is really just a survival thing here. Can I survive this encounter? Let's find out. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's a 5. I don't know how I got such a low roll. I guess Felbolt needs to learn to fight. He's learned to be a smith. He knows how it feels to be a wizard. He does not know how to fight, and so he swings clumsily through the forest, not able to hit the Draugr Mage at all, quickly realizing he's outmatched by this guy. And the Draugr Mage comes this short of striking a killing blow, but it only manages to knock Felbolt off his feet, and in a moment, the Draugr Mage is gone, perhaps looking for another opportunity to strike as we wander the field. That was a little nerve-wracking so early on. That being said, I'm going to continue because I definitely need to find some monsters that I can take down and get some money so that I can start building my character. The best way to level up in the game is actually through, I would say, taking down monsters and using the gold that you get as experience points and spending those experience points to get better armor, to get better weapons, to enchant your items, all of the above. And speaking of which, Felbolt sees what the Draugr Mage was guarding. It's an arcane enchanter. Now, I don't believe that I actually have the materials to use the arcane enchanter, but I'm going to check because it's one of those items you only really find out in the field of battle, and so it's really valuable when you do get it. Let's see here. Seamstress. Arcane enchanter. Do I have any items that I can make or try it and enchant, I guess would be the case here, with Elvenor and Gilden Rock? What I'm seeing is that I need Feruli powder for basically every instance of enchantment. That's definitely going to be something I want to look out for, but for now, I have to leave this arcane enchanter where I found it. Okay, we're going this way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh. It's the Draugr Mage. Let's pull him up. This guy wants my blood, and he's probably gonna get it. The Draugr Mage, just as a refresher, HP of 4. I need a 4 or higher to take this guy out. Okay, this time Felbolt was ready. His eyes were keen to what to look for. He was on the lookout for this guy. He'd only made it a couple of feet away from the arcane enchanter, still on high alert, not at all believing that the Draugr mage just left him because he felt like it. And so his hand was ready on his rapier, and upon sight of this Draugr mage, upon visualization of this creature of the dark, Felbolt swings his rapier forward once more and knacks the head of the Draugr mage clean off. And then he loots his body because, hey, it's hard to be a single warrior trying to save the world on your own, especially when no one is paying you for it. And so you gotta do what you gotta do. Not to mention, this guy was a part of the attack on his homeland, and he's got treasures that technically don't belong to him. Looting and pillaging is not an honest way to make money. You can write that down. I've just made you a better person in life. You're welcome. It's a pleasure. Okay, 11 gold. Praise the Lord. And Felbolt continues on his way. He's feeling pretty good about himself right now. If he can take on number 7, I don't think he wants to go too far north of that. But let's see what happens with 6, you know what I mean? Okay, actually, here is a number 6, but it is not a monster tile. Number 6. All right, let's go see what it is. Number 6, I come across a broken sword. Felbolt looks at the sword. We have to roll the die. If it's an odd number, he's going to pick up the blade, and something's going to happen. And if it's an even number, let's see here. Okay. If it's an even number, something's going to happen. It's an even number, so poor Felbolt picks up the blade only to find out that it was poisoned. He's got a lot to learn as an adventurer, it looks like. He doesn't really know what to expect. He just knows that he wants to restore the fortune and glory of his homeland and hopefully put new people up on that mountain that he can love and care about. And so he makes a lot of silly mistakes along the way, like blindly swinging at Draugr mages and poisoning himself. So for the next turn, I'm still going to draw a tile. This would obviously have a bigger impact if you're in a party, but it still lands. I draw the tile, but I cannot move or retreat no matter what it was. And so, fortunately, it's just a regular path tile, although there are skulls, there are bones littered across it. And so that's probably not good news going forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to continue to press forward into the murky little land here. And he comes to the edge of the plains. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. He is at the edge of the plains, and he has to decide whether he's going to press forward with his measly 11 coins or not. And man, he's just gotten beat up this entire round. He has survived, though, so there's that. So what I'm thinking is we're going to go across the plains. We don't want to head too deep back in because of some fears that we might have. But we're going to check out this sideline here. I still feel like Felbolt's in a good position to take on whatever's ahead of him. And so we're going to check that out and see if there's any monsters present there that we can take care of. Number 1, we have a monster, my friends. So we go to our book, the Dragon Harvest Compendium. Number 1 should be easy. Fury spiders. They have an HP of 2 and they drop 10 gold when defeated, but there is no opportunity for a retreat, so I have to face them, but I feel like I've got a pretty good statistical likelihood of taking them out. Let's find out. 6, okay, just smites them right away. They stood no chance for his rapier, and he uses it like a kebab stick to just run through all of these semi-large and quite angry spiders, giving us 10 gold. Now this is also important, and this is something you might not know immediately unless you read ahead as you're doing your instructions. Some people like to read the instructions as they go, and some people like to read them beforehand. I am someone who wrote the instructions, so I've read them beforehand. And I know that the more monsters I kill, once this region is over, I'm going to be benefited by having explored all of this, because this flips over and becomes the city, the town, or even the kingdom, depending on the scope of it, that I explore next. And directly correlated with these monster tiles on their other side are buildings and monuments which I can visit and hopefully utilize to make my character better. And so we continue on. Felbolt's really encouraged by what just happened, and he continues to be encouraged. He just found another item. Let's see here. What item might we have found? It is iron. As a smith, I'm absolutely okay with that. I will take some iron. The trick is that as I'm exploring, right now I've mostly filled my bag with rocks and I've got 2 more slots. So hopefully things start coming together in that region. That would be really, really wonderful. Okay. More skull and crossbones. Oh, nice. Finally. We have had some regular plains in the plains, but there's not been an incredible amount of plains in the plains. It gets a little trippy. Felbolt is just blatantly unintimidated by the amount of dead bodies just lying around in this field. He just could not be bothered to care, apparently. He just continues to press forward. That's really unfortunate. Monster tile number 10, which spells almost certain doom. No 2 through 6 this entire time. That's a little bit of a bummer. But hey, that's the name of the game. That's how things happen here. So we're going to look up monster tile number 10. And what we find is that we are faced with a quarry creature. Quarry creatures have an HP of 10, which tells you my statistical likelihood of survival here, doesn't it? Yeah, I have no chance at all of taking out a quarry creature presently, but if I could, at least they drop Feruli powder when they're defeated. My best option is to try and retreat, in which case I need to roll a 2 or a 3. So we're going to give that a go, and then if not, we're going to hope that this thing doesn't kill Felbolt at the start of our beautiful quest together. Okay, I did not retreat, so that is a bummer. It is now time to see what my fate will be. So just as a refresher, the quarry creature has the opportunity to attack Felbolt. Felbolt swung with his rapier, but it takes a very specific and nuanced approach to take a quarry creature down with such a thin and small blade. And so it does not land the way he wants it to. It merely glances off of his rocky exterior. The quarry creature never appreciates that kind of attack, and he's going to have words to say about it with his fists. And so if he rolls and it gets a 1 or a 2, he's going to miss. If it lands a 3 or a 4, I'm pushed back a tile, and I lose half of my gold, which actually I do have gold now, so that would be kind of a bummer. And by the way, you always round up. That's the way it is, man. If it lands on a 5, or I already said that. If it lands on a 6, then this quarry creature is going to take his rocky fist straight through Felbolt's face, and it will be the tragic end of our hero who thought he could. Let's find out. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness. Statistically, not likely, but it can happen, folks. Felbolt takes a hard rock to the head. And he does not live to see another day. Guys, if I can encourage you, maybe there's a lesson in this about vengeance. Maybe we should forgive. Maybe we should leave vengeance to the Lord. He will repay it. Maybe Felbolt should have practiced more than smithing before he came on this journey. Maybe I should have thought to actually use my wizard abilities. I'm just realizing this was the opportunity to do that. If I had gotten a 5 or a 6 and I'd used Not Alone, I would have been set. That's exactly why I brought it with me. But alas, Felbolt is such an inexperienced warrior that he doesn't even think to ask his friends for help. And he dies. Okay. Now, if you're playing as Felbolt and you get to this point and you're not very happy with what's happened, that's up to you and your friends. For me, I actually like this element of the game. I like that this is a reality to it. I wouldn't mind playing as Felbolt again, but I do require myself to start over. And so, for our next episode of Dragon Harvest, maybe I'll be Felbolt. Maybe I'll be a different character. I'm curious to hear from you. Who are you playing as? Let me know in the comments, who would you like to see me play as? And how can we prevent this from happening again? Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Thanks for adventuring with Dragon Harvest. We aim to provide for you the best fantasy stories and worlds possible. With this in mind, we encourage you to get plugged in, and you can do that in a variety of ways. We have a newsletter, we have a YouTube channel which you can subscribe to, and generally speaking, we have new content coming out on our website all the time, so we encourage you to check that regularly. If you have questions for us or other ways that we can help you out, feel free to shoot us a message. You can find us on our website where we have a question panel, or you can email dragonharvestgames@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, and stay tuned for more.